have the little heathen Jeremy Stevens coming in at 28-18. Yes, he's a veteran of the octagon, been in a ton of big fights, and is one of my favorite and most entertaining fighters that you will ever come across.
Well, I hate him, so.
Coming in at a solid 5'9", the 71-inch reach. He usually fights in the featherweight division at 145. This time, this is a 155-pound bout in the lightweight division. He is also coming off a loss, tough loss, to Calvin Kattar, where he got KO'd. And before that, tough loss again to Yair Rodriguez, who is an absolute stud and arguably could have won that fight. I didn't see that as a unanimous decision, but he hasn't won a fight since 2018. And if you know anything about the show, I don't pick guys that lose and are on losing streaks. Anywho, his opponent coming in at a solid 18-1, the gamer, Mateusz Gamrot. He's actually coming off his. Well, actually, he's coming off a KO win. And before that, he's coming off his first loss to Gumar Kadaditsale. I'm sorry, I fucking butchered that name. Anywho, I missed the height, 5'10", so he got an inch on Jeremy Stevens and equal reach with a half-inch advantage in 70.5. This guy, pretty good, unimpressive for an 18-1 record. I think he only has 2 fights in the UFC, and he got dominated in this first fight. Really, I mean, he won one round in my opinion, but remains to be seen what he does in his next fight. Um, Jeremy Stevens, like I said, man, he's just a brawler. This guy does a phenomenal job in performing and entertaining the crowd. Zach, what do you think?
I said it earlier. I hate Jeremy Stevens. Who the fuck is this guy? I'm just not completely convinced that he's, like you said, he's a vet. He's been here for a while, but he's been doing it at 45. This is a 55 fight. He's a guy that relies on his knockout power, in my opinion. I don't think he's the full package. And I think at 55, I'm going to burp again. Excuse me. I think he has a harder time finding that one-punch KO. And realistically, looking at this fight, Gamrot has good wrestling, good offensive wrestling, but it's not offensive wrestling like you see the Dagestanis do, where it's stand up, face to face, meet in the middle of the octagon. I'm going to out wrestle you. I'm going to shoot like a freestyle wrestling match in the Olympics. It's, I see you loading up for this big punch, going to knock my head off, so I'm going to take you down with a single leg and dominate. I think Gamrot is going to walk out with a 30-27 decision based on takedowns and ground control, and I think Jeremy Stevens cry like a baby.
I have to disagree with you here. I'm taking Jeremy Stevens.
Oh, boo.
I think he's just so tough. Like, he gave up a nasty elbow to Calvin Kattar. I mean, Calvin Kattar ate a very good shot, in my opinion, when he knocked him out. Yair Rodriguez in that fight, he was close. It's debatable. He could have won that fight, man. He showed great offensive wrestling, and I think moving up to 155 is actually a good move for Stevens because he was missing weight at 145. Uh, I I love the brawler mentality. He's so tough. I've seen a knockout by Gamero, but I just he looked small in his loss. And I'm not saying that he's going to look big or look small against Stevens, but I think the experience here comes into play for Stevens. And there's one thing that Stevens has. He has a dog in him. He's a savage. He comes out and gives all he got to the final bell. Like him getting knocked out by Gallon Cater was not an indication of his character or his fight acumen at all. He got caught by a good shot, and I'd almost bet to say it's he's one of the hardest guys to knock out with your fist, absolutely. and that's why I'm picking him. I think it's going to be a good fight. It's going to be a close fight. Let me pull up the odds for us, pal.
One of the things you said that I really cared for was that Jeremy Stevens is going to give it everything he has from the first bell to the last bell, which typically sounds like a compliment, but when it's coming from me and in the context that I'm giving it, it's not an insult, obviously, but it means I do mean it to play against him in terms of there's not a whole lot of guys who can punch as hard as they can for 3 rounds and either A, land successfully, or B, last through 3 rounds. So I just think Gamrot's going to find opportunity. And I like you said, God dang it, I'm trying to stay away from saying like you said. But, with what you were going for, his striking is not crisp as it could be. He doesn't have that knockout power, but I think he's a more well-rounded mixed martial artist. And I think Jeremy Stevens, being a veteran, you think it's going to play for him. I think it's going to play against him. I think he's going to be predictable, and I think Gamrot's going to have his number. However, show us the odds. We're looking at them. Tell me what you think.
So plus 195 is pretty tasty for Jeremy Stevens. Minus 200 for Gamrot, which is not bad, but the fight doesn't go to decision, coming at a less tasty minus 165, which I probably wouldn't take. I mean, I say if you're going to bet Gamrot, might as well take the parlay with the fight goes to decision here. Obviously, just for, again, minus 200 means you have to bet $200 to win $100. And on the flip side, plus 195 means you bet $100, you win 195. So I like plus 195 here for Jeremy Stevens. I like his knockout power. I like his endurance, his toughness, and I think at 155, I'll very much play into his hands.
No, I want to, we're leading up into the co-main event. We're about halfway through our picks probably at this point. So I want to let everybody who relies on me, my few friends out there that watch this show, to make bets for them on a weekly basis in terms of mixed martial arts. I only want one bet this week. It is going to involve 3 fights. It is going to be a parlay. And I will let you know at the end of this show. However, this card is just, in terms of flip a coin, very much could go either way in a lot of different places. It's something I would like to be more cautious in terms of betting on a fight per fight basis. However, looking at just straight picks here, again, I think Jeremy Stevens is going to be predictable. And I just think Gamrot is going to have that trick up his sleeve that gets the fight done for him. I can't tell you what it is right now, but I'm imagining, it's probably not a punch. It's probably something crafty. Standing guillotine, maybe. However, I think we're done here. You got anything else to say?
My final thing is I don't think Jeremy Stevens gets enough love for his ground game acumen and how well he does on it. He took Yair Rodriguez down quite a few times, and he's shown the ability to take the fight to the ground if he needs to. So, after that, I'm taking Jeremy Stevens. He got Gamrot. Let's see where this main event and co-main event take us.